Police departments across the state are being double billed and you're paying the price. Tonight, a KARE 11 investigation exposes how your taxpayer dollars are being wasted on things that have already been paid for.
In fact, our investigation has already sparked a criminal investigation by the state. Here's KARE 11's AJ Legault with double billing the badge.
At the Maplewood Police Department, the hunt under the hood is on.
It should be in the car, right, because we did not get a deduct.
What can't be located,
I don't see it.
by the city mechanic is an engine block heater.
I'm not seeing one.
We didn't either,
But Police Chief Paul Schnell's department paid for an engine block heater.
and it's not on the car.
Just one example in a KARE 11 investigation that has already sparked a criminal investigation.
This is widespread.
And uncovered, Minnesota taxpayers charged hundreds of thousands of dollars for features on police vehicles that are either not there or, in many cases, like with this spotlight, were paid for twice.
We've been paying $187 for those.
Under the state-issued contract for police SUVs, it spells out what must be included in the standard base package at the contracted price. There's engine block heaters, rear windows that can't be rolled down from the back seats, spotlights, and heated mirrors. But when KARE 11 went line by line over Maplewood PD's vehicle purchases, we found they were charged an extra $79 for engine block heaters, $187 for the spot lamps, $53 for the heated mirrors, and $30 to make the rear windows inoperative.
Based on the findings that you've uncovered here, we've paid for items as add-ons that were or should have been included in the base price of a car.
Double billed.
Double billed.
Chief Schnell is now checking
I don't see
every one of his squad
the heater plugs at all.
to see if he got what he paid for. And he's not the only one.
Clearly you don't have two spotlights here.
No, just one spotlight.
South St. Paul Police Chief William Mesrick paid $392 for upgraded LED spotlights on his SUVs.
We found the LEDs draw less on the batteries.
But we found he also paid $200 for the standard halogen spotlights included in the base price per the state contract. Spotlights that are not on the car and for which he received no credit.
And so you didn't know when you upgraded to these you should have been getting a credit for the one that was already coming standard?
No, we weren't aware of that.
Purchasing records show South St. Paul also paid double for heated mirrors, engine block heaters, and for those back window switches not to work.
It was probably a couple $100 a car that we're paying too much for.
A couple $100 per car may not sound like all that much, but consider the dealership that has the roughly $15 million a year state contract sold 558 of the Ford Police Interceptor SUVs last fiscal year alone. We're talking real money here.
I can't imagine what the dollars could add up to. I can't imagine.
KARE 11 reviewed the SUV purchases of 20 different police and sheriff's departments. We discovered at every single one of them double billing. It happened at smaller agencies such as Rosemont, Apple Valley, and Brooklyn Center. Midsize, such as the Stearns County Sheriff's Office.
I was paying for two, but only getting one.
And even at the major metro agencies like St. Paul and Hennepin County. Curtis Haas is the finance director in charge of purchasing the Hennepin Sheriff's Office vehicles.
Across the state of Minnesota, the taxpayers are paying for things that they aren't getting.
So, who's responsible? Who's pocketing hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars double billed on Minnesota police vehicles?
Our search for answers takes us north to Fergus Falls, Minnesota. A car dealership here, Nelson Auto Center, has the state contract to sell police SUVs. The point man was fleet manager Jerry Werner.
Nelson Auto Center offers a variety of vehicles.
It's Jerry's name on all the double-billed invoices we discovered, which is why we're paying a visit to his 5,696 square foot riverfront home.
Mr. Werner, AJ Legault, I'm from KARE 11 News. I wanted to talk with you about the double billing issue going on with the police vehicles.
Yeah, no comment.
Well, this was going on a long time. Were you intentionally trying to rip off police departments?
We wanted answers from Jerry Werner. What we got was a closed door and a call from an attorney who said his client, Jerry Werner, did not do anything wrong and had no intent to defraud anyone. Is this just a case of bad bookkeeping? Or did Jerry Werner and Nelson Auto know about the double billing and continue to do it? In 2015, Stearns County noticed they were being double billed.
That's true.
So Lieutenant Robert Dickhouse emailed Jerry Werner with a question.
Do I need to pay for this spotlight, or is this something that's included? And the response I got was, oh, that's included.
Also in 2015, St. Paul Police contacted Jerry Werner about double billing and received this refund check for more than 13 grand. From then on, St. Paul and Stearns were, for the most part, properly billed. But many other departments like Maplewood continue to be charged double.
At what point does this become criminal?
After Carol Evan first spoke with him, Chief Schnell contacted the BCA, which has opened a criminal investigation. Brent Nelson, the owner of Nelson Auto, won't go on camera pending the outcome of the BCA investigation, but tells Carol Evan the dealership launched a full internal audit that to date has identified about $700,000 in improper billing, and a decision was made to terminate the prior fleet manager, that's Jerry Werner, who Nelson's claims took 100% responsibility for the situation.
There was a wholesale level of error at a minimum, deception more likely.
Well, Nelson Auto has sent out this letter to police agencies statewide promising at the completion of their internal review that they will promptly issue an appropriate refund. That's about 700,000 tax dollars being returned. And as we told you, the state has launched a criminal investigation.
Now to a KARE 11 News investigation into double billing that may have cost taxpayers nearly $750,000. It's already sparked a criminal investigation.
And now we know state officials were warned about it, but failed to stop it. AJ Legault asked why, with his continuing coverage in the investigation, double billing the badge.
Across Minnesota, law enforcement agencies are checking their fleet
I can't see it.
of patrol vehicles.
So on this one, you paid double.
And this one we paid double.
Looking to see if they got what they paid for, or if they were charged twice for the same features like spotlights, engine heaters.
Also heated mirrors.
Features that the state contract says must be included in the base price of the vehicle. But Carol Evans' investigation found were being double billed by the vendor, Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls. After we began investigating, Nelson fired its fleet services manager, Jerry Werner, claiming he took 100% responsibility.
This was going on a long time. Were you intentionally trying to rip off police departments?
Jerry Werner is not talking, but our investigation to date has identified double billing on police vehicles as far back as 2013.
We wanted to know how this could have gone unnoticed for so long. What we found is the state has known all about it for years.
If somebody found out about it, I expect that they would have told us.
A fair expectation on the part of South St. Paul's Police Chief William Messerick. It raises the question, who would not want to stop hundreds of thousands of tax dollars from being used inappropriately? This citizen did.
Absolutely.
Steve Kleiber has both a law enforcement and vehicle purchasing background. He stumbled on the double billing back in 2015.
It's pretty simple. They were supposed to provide black and white, this is what we provide, here's the price, and they weren't doing it.
He took his findings to the St. Paul PD, which in turn reached out to the Minnesota Department of Administration, the state agency responsible for the police vehicle contract. A city employee wrote to the state in April of 2015. It's been brought to our attention that the pricing that's been charged by Nelson Auto may have been incorrect for years 2013, 2014, and 2015. St. Paul demanded a refund from Nelson Auto, and the city was cut this check for more than 13 grand. But most of the other police departments in Minnesota also buy their vehicles using the same state contract with Nelson's. Did they too deserve a refund? Steve says he thought it was likely.
Yes.
So he also took what he had uncovered to the Department of Administration.
What was done?
Nothing, and nothing was done to make sure that the cities and counties that were overcharged got their money back.
The Department of Administration did do one thing. They put a small warning to buyers to double check about double billing. But there were no audits, no accountability, no further refunds to taxpayers.
I took it to the people that I thought should deal with it and address the problem, and basically nothing's happened.
After waiting nearly 2 years for the state to do something, anything.
But you see what I was showing you.
Yeah.
Steve contacted Carol Evan Investigates with the exact same information he says he'd shared with the state. Using public records requests, Carol Evan reviewed the SUV purchases of 20 different police and sheriff's departments. we discovered every single one of them, like South St. Paul, was double billed.
If the state knew about it, they certainly should have relayed that information onto the agencies purchasing off those contracts.
But that did not happen. What did happen was the state continued to renew their contract with Nelson Auto Center, which continued unabated to double bill taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars.
This has been eating at you.
Yes, because it's not right.
We repeatedly requested interviews with the Department of Administration to ask why they failed to stop double billing when they first learned about it. They refused, citing the ongoing criminal investigation, but they did send a statement saying in part they've requested funding to upgrade to a modern, secure e-procurement system in order to allow the state to automate system checks to ensure correct prices are charged by vendors. That's a $10 million upgrade they're asking the legislature for.
When someone comes to you in person and says this is a problem, you don't need an automatic system to check
it.
it.
If you know it's wrong, I'm confused.
I'm confused as to why no
the state
audits
wouldn't do something.
Right.
It should have been audited.
Minnesota's legislative auditor is launching an inquiry after a KARE 11 investigation exposed law enforcement agencies across the state getting ripped off.
Randy, a theft by swindle scheme. That's how prosecutors describe what we uncovered, and it's cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars.
This was going on a long time. Were you intentionally trying to rip off police departments?
Jerry Werner wouldn't answer our questions back in April. He'll now have to answer for his actions in the Otter Tail County Courthouse, where he stands accused in this indictment of 5 counts of theft by swindle.
You're charging this as a scheme to defraud taxpayers?
Correct. And it really is.
Michelle Eldine is Otter Tail County's chief deputy prosecutor.
Unfortunately, it went on for quite some time.
The criminal investigation began after KARE 11 started asking questions about the way police agencies all across Minnesota were being double billed for items such as spot lamps and heated mirrors that the state contract says must be included in the base price.
Based on the findings that you've uncovered here, we've paid for items as add-ons that were or should have been included in the base price of a car.
Double billed.
Double billed.
We found examples of double billing in every single one of the dozens of departments we've checked.
A couple $100 a car that we're paying too much for.
What's more, we uncovered evidence the overbilling on the state contract by Jerry Werner, the fleet manager at Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls, was caught years earlier. State Patrol and St. Paul PD both received refunds, but Nelson Auto continued to double bill on sales to other departments.
Made it look like there's choices of who you stole from and who you didn't.
Kent Marshall is Jerry Werner's attorney.
I don't think that he did anything sneaky or tricky.
He contends the state contracts are confusing and any double billing was accidental.
There were mistakes made, but they were honest mistakes.
However, court records detail other employees in the fleet department at Nelson Auto telling Werner in the past that what they were doing was morally wrong. But the double billing continued with, according to court records, a 40% commission on the profits going into Jerry Werner's pockets.
This appears to be a case of misplaced trust in a state vendor?
I would say a huge misplaced trust, unfortunately.
Well, we learned today that Jerry Werner has already personally paid back $325,000. Nelson Auto's owners have said they'll be refunding another roughly $500,000 to 205 police agencies across the state who were defrauded. So far, no other employees at Nelson Auto have been charged, despite the court record showing at least 2 others were aware of that double billing, Randy.
New tonight, a KARE 11 investigation results in a state vendor being stripped of a contract to sell police vehicles.
And the government agency is making policy changes to better protect taxpayers. Developments tonight in KARE 11's ongoing investigation, double billing the badge. What started as an investigation into how police and sheriff's departments here in Minnesota were being overcharged on hundreds of squad cars is expanding. AJ Legault is here with the latest developments tonight. AJ?
Randy, after learning about what we discovered here in Minnesota, officials in North Dakota have opened their own investigation to make sure they too were not double billed.